Good evening, Red Star Rebels. It's June 20th, 2023. This is Podcast Season 3, Episode 12. We are Red Star Report, and I am flying solo tonight. I'm Hal Lohr, and this is Voices for the California Nation.
I would say you represent probably about half the country, your views, and the other half represents mine. Do you agree? We're kind of divided.
Plus or minus, certainly divided. Yeah. No question. I mean, we're polarized, we're traumatized.
You're the first governor in history that has had a net migration out of the Golden State.
18 states had declines in population. California's was 0.3%. You didn't bring up any of the red states that had decline in populations. In 2021, California had 7.8% of GDP growth in this country, one of the fastest growing economies anywhere on planet Earth. This state continues to be the tentpole of the American economy. 25.6% of all American jobs came from this state in April. In the last 2 fiscal years, we enjoyed $177.7 billion in operating surpluses. We're on our way to be the 4th largest economy, eat your heart out, Germany, in the world. Number 1 in R&D, venture capital, more scientists, researchers, more Nobel laureates, more patents emanating out of this state than any other state in America. With all due respect, Florida doesn't even come close. Eat your heart out, Texas. California continues to be the dominant economic engine for the American public.
I promised you before this interview I would let you give full answers. That's a full answer.
Thank you.
Okay.
This state, we dominate in venture capital, innovation. We have the finest system of public higher education anywhere on planet Earth. We convey more talent than any place on the planet. This state, I mean, R&D, what did Tesla just do? They moved back into the state of California. Disney's moving their jobs back from Florida in the state of California. You didn't acknowledge per capita more Floridians coming back to California than Californians going to Florida. 1/2 of America's $1 billion valued companies are in the state of California. This state economy has outperformed the nation, 3.1% in the last decade, 2.1% nationwide.
It should come as no surprise that the Republican propaganda machine is grooming Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to be the heir apparent of Donald Trump's fascist vision of America, no matter how the 2024 election turns out. As part of that grooming, Fox News and the American ultra-right media do everything in their power to junkyard dog protect the Republican Party line by attacking Florida man's rival, Governor Gavin Newsom, and red state America's public enemy number 1, the California Republic. This means discrediting both Gavin Newsom and California as a whole at every opportunity, even when, as in the case of homeless numbers or population growth, cherry-picking data and ignoring mitigating or influencing factors reaches the point of ridiculousness. And by the way, Texas and Florida per capita have about the same homeless numbers as California or New York. But since both states decided under Republican administrations to slash social service budgets and no longer waste the money to count the homeless, they can pretend there really isn't a problem. You know, the same fascist tactic used on things like climate change or gun control, where an idiot will close their eyes, plug their ears, and sing la 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 really loud or just shout at an intelligent person, so loud they can't hear any of those inconvenient truths. So, speaking as a Californian on the so-called California Exodus, it doesn't take a lot of research to realize that between COVID-19 and Trump administration lockdowns on immigration that haven't been lifted yet, California's population growth flatlined in 2020 during the census. At that time, as the political and social economic divide in Trump's America grew, most Californians know who actually ends up leaving California for places like Texas, Florida, Arizona, Idaho, or the old Confederate states. Hint, it's not corporations. It's largely people struggling in California with low-wage jobs and right-wing mindsets. People who think Taco Bell is real Mexican food, hate the beach, are frightened of those people, and think that their gun rights are more important than the lives of other people's children. bye-bye. And it's not like we don't know the truth about what goes on with these high-profile companies that leave California either. Backwater states in the Old South, or states with a political axe to grind like Texas or Florida, more often than not just give these big companies free land, state-subsidized building costs, and zero taxes forever. Then those red states have the nerve to brag about companies leaving California and bringing jobs to their states. But because many of those regressive red states don't have state taxes, they rely on federal funds to function. That means that donor state California gets federally sucker punched for up to 14% annually of operating costs red state America uses to lure companies out of California. Worse, it also means that those red states don't and can't afford the infrastructure needed to maintain those businesses long term. And they can't fund the education system needed to provide the properly skilled and educated workforces on their own in the first place. All things the companies that leave California relied on in the nation-state of California to grow in the first place. And most companies like Tesla, Disney, Toyota show buyer's remorse for soon after they leave. So as we enter the next election cycle, remember that glass-jawed red state politicians will always need to divert attention away from the California Republic's strengths and successes by trying to use California as a punching bag. They figure if enough of them call California a failure loud enough and long enough, it will make it somehow not true that the California Republic and its citizens are not already the fifth global socio-economic powerhouse in the world, even though we're shackled with both hands behind our backs, chained to the dead weight of red state America's late-stage capitalism, fossil fuel addiction, dying military imperialism, and faded glory. And someday, Red Star Rebels, those chains will break. This is Voices for the California Nation. As the school year ends and people adjust to their summer schedules, Shankar and our Red Star contributors have this week off. But don't worry, they'll be back soon. Count on it. For now, let's go have some fun. Okay, enough warmth. It's time for talking points. This is Talking Points. One of the most difficult parts of the California independence movement is trying to get other California secessionists to understand something that you would think would be crystal clear by now. 2 plus 2 is 4. Does anybody not understand that? Water is wet. Have I lost anyone in the complexity of that statement? Fire is hot. Is there anyone out there who wants to debate that with me? Of course not. It would be pointless discussion of settled, accepted things that don't need to get intellectually rehashed endlessly. California would be better off as an independent country than it would as just another of the 50 American states. Same thing. An established, settled, and accepted thing that doesn't need to get intellectually rehashed endlessly. But, unlike 2 plus 2 is 4, or water is wet, or fire is hot, for some reason, a lot of members of the California independence movement are still walking around trying to argue the case, as though the future of 40 million Californians is nothing more than the topic of academic discussion. The very destiny of our California Republic is subject to some individual and their bloated ego personal opinion. So, really, can we just stop? As far as all the debate, argument, and discussion about California independence or California secession goes, can we just take a step back and say 2015 called and they want their debate back? Because really, nothing in the last 7 years has shown anybody who was half paying attention that American democracy, or the USA in general, can be fixed, full stop, ever, full stop, period. And any Californian who's half paying attention has already got the California independence movement's talking points down. Nation state, 5th largest economy in the world, global leader on climate change, global leader in science and technology, global leader in agriculture, sanctuary state for women, immigrants, the LGBTQ community, tax donor state, import-export trading hub, U.S. leader in diversity, inclusion, and tolerance. And it goes on and on. Even Governor Gavin Newsom regularly uses our talking points, and everyone knows he's only withholding judgment on California independence until after he's settled on whether or not the Democratic Party will back his plans on running for U.S. president. But, you see, that's where we run into a problem. Politicians with federal government agendas love to keep dialogue open. It's good for connecting with constituent issues and fundraising, but keeping a discussion going on and on is a trap the American left has fallen into on every subject, from guns to voting rights to abortion. Continuing to question the merit of a political issue like abortion, guns, or even California independence keeps those issues spinning in media circles, focus groups, public debates, and subcommittees, and gives the illusion that the facts are not settled. Political experts argue that ongoing discourse raises the issue's public awareness, but as long as the debate goes on, the existing status quo will remain in place. For the California independence movement, that means that as long as people, particularly those people associated with the California independence movement, keep trying to justify California independence, then California independence will seem to need to be justified. We are so past that, and we should be using other more relevant discussion points to influence public opinion. So, speaking to everyone who supports the idea and the ideals of a free and independent California, please change the dialogue. It's not about whether or not California should be or can be independent. The discussion now needs to be about what will happen if California can't free itself from a divided and increasingly California hostile and anti-California values America. A discussion that speaks to the classically progressive issues like healthcare and human rights that can be finally solved in a free California able to vote its progressive values without American interference. A discussion about how the world can be a better place once a free and independent California takes its place of leadership in the G8 or the United Nations. And yes, like we do at Red Star Report, even a never-ending discussion of the differences between evolved Californians and the knuckle-dragging, inbred, superstitious, racist, sexist, violent, and ignorant Americans we're currently forced to accept as countrymen. Because if we have to debate or discuss or question issues in today's California independence movement, with the 2024 election just over the horizon, it's best if we position the argument where those who might oppose independence are justifying why Californians have to accept a future of fossil fuel pollution, terrible health care, endless war, racism, corporatism, gun violence, and so on, when we have no practical reason to do that other than being forced to do so by American oppression. Let them do the justifying instead of us. This is Talking Points.
When you have these woke revolutions, it requires all of us at some point to say, no, not going to do this. We are living in a country that has no resemblance to the visions of the Founding Fathers in the first 200 years of our history. We're losing that ability with tribal politics, wokeness, cancel culture. And if Americans don't see themselves as unique citizens of the United States, then you don't have a country. If we don't, then the citizenship that we've known for centuries will die.
That's it for podcast number 12 of our third season. For more Red Star Report information, check out our website at www.redstarreport.com. Please subscribe to our Red Star Report YouTube channel. Go to our Red Star Report Facebook page, Twitter page, and Instagram page, and give us a like and give us a follow. Because if you want to support the real California independence movement's #NewCalExit media group, it's all about the algorithms. And seriously, click that link below and pledge support for our friends at listener-supported radio KPFK 90.7 FM Los Angeles. KPFK deserves your support too. Our thanks to all our Red Star Rebels for watching. We are Red Star Report.